young people of color are coming up missing.
He's been missing since April.
20-year-old son Isaiah Henriquez was last seen wearing black sweatpants and a black Nike jacket with silver frills in his mouth.
Getting out of a lift in Mass.
But that is where the information about his whereabouts ends.
The case of Isaiah Henriquez stays alive through his mother, Diana. Her pursuit of the truth and her love for her son have made her a symbol of strength and resilience. Isaiah, a bright young man with a promising future, gone too soon.
He was such a happy kid. Growing up, he was always smiling. Like you said, like in the pictures, you'll see he's always smiling. He was playful. He loved SpongeBob in elementary school. That was his favorite cartoon character. He liked typical things that a little boy would like. He liked playing PlayStation and video games and riding his bicycle. He liked his wrestlers too. And he was very affectionate. So like he would always be at somebody's hip, whoever he was with. If he was with me, with my mom, or with one of my sisters, which are his aunts, he was just always like attached to somebody's hip. We were brought up in a very loving and united family. So I have a lot of nieces and nephews, which are technically his cousins, but they don't see each other as cousins. Like they're more like siblings. So even though he was my only son, I know he never felt like he was completely alone because all his cousins are his brothers and sisters. We wanted to celebrate his 21st birthday in Jamaica because he loves Jamaica. It was the first time we were all able to actually go on a family vacation. So we were all present, just Isaiah wasn't present physically, but I know he was there with us in spirit. Isaiah was so funny, and he had this laugh that was contagious. You know, thank God for technology. I can always hear his laugh. There's not a thing that he wouldn't do for those that he loved. One of his passions is cooking. He was really good at cooking. He made better pancakes than me. He would look at a recipe once, but he would throw his own flair to it. So once he figured out how to make it, he would just go off of his chances.
In the days leading up to Isaiah's disappearance, everything seemed normal. Isaiah was focused on his future, filled with hopes and dreams.
Leading up to his disappearance, he was working as a security guard at a pharmaceutical company. And he was saving money to buy a car because one of his goals was to get a car so that then he can become an electrician. So he was looking into the trade school for that. So he was just working, being a regular young kid, young man in the making, just working, saving his money, and on his free time he'd be with family or with his friends.
Isaiah Henriquez.
20-year-old son Isaiah Henriquez. She says Isaiah was last seen leaving a house party on Brentwood Road in Brentwood.
He would never just leave.
Around 7:30 on a Saturday night. Then, she says he took a Lyft to the Poospatuck Reservation in Mastic. Isaiah's mom says she confirmed with Lyft that he was dropped off there.
Police say remains found off the Southern State Parkway in West Islip on Thursday belong to Henriquez.
Someone saw something, so please say something.
Now the question is how a night out with friends at a party and a trip to a Native American reservation ended like this.
I don't know how I'm still coping with it, quote unquote, because I don't really think I'm coping with it. I think by the grace of God, I'm just getting through. Me and my family were getting through one day at a time. I was determined to find Isaiah, and obviously this isn't the way we wanted to find him. Me and my family, we were so determined to find him, and we did. We were just kind of like on that fight or flight mode. Is that how they say it? Like we were just like on a robotic mode. Like, all right, this Monday we got to do this. Tuesday I got to follow up with this state legislator or following up with the press and news channels, and it was a lot. I come from a strong background of family, which we're very faithful. We're very spiritual. We're resilient people. I think that's what's kept us going, to continue forward and take it one day at a time and never lose hope. We prayed every day. I still pray Because, I prayed every day before so that we could find my baby. So I have to keep on praying now so that we find justice for my baby. And we will. Because everything always comes out to the light in God's timing. For those of you that don't know, I lost my son, Isaiah. He was 20 years old to gun violence. And that's why this cause is extremely important to me, because although I raised Isaiah in a loving, caring, and God-fearing family, like we had our unit, somehow I was still able to lose my only child to gun violence. No mother should ever have to bury her child, but let alone her only child. And I feel like oftentimes gun violence tends to be connected to gang violence. We've seen it throughout the nation, and especially we see it in our communities. And I hope to make a difference in that I could be Isaiah's voice, and then in turn, then I could be a voice for our community. Because I still have to make him proud, and he has nobody to speak to him, to speak for him right now. He can't speak for himself, so I'm going to speak for him.
It's crucial to understand the broader context of gun violence. Thomas Beverly, the program manager for Wyandanch SNUG, which stands for Guns, spelled backwards, aims to educate the community on how gun violence spreads.
My name is Thomas Beverly. I'm the program manager for Wyandanch SNUG. I took over this position 3 years ago. I first started as an outreach worker, where they asked me to join the staff just to help the community. My main mission on joining the staff was I lost a lot of family members growing up due to gun violence. I lost an older brother, many friends, and I just wanted to use my positive influence to help change the norms. The community has changed drastically. I mean, when I grew up, it was a lot of fighting, and now it has skipped that step and we're going straight to this shooting and gun violence. And I wanted to just educate and try to help my community on just showing them there's a better way on how we handle conflicts.
As a society, we first need to acknowledge the problem. And only then can we really implement and have proactive measures. We're losing way too many of our young men. So, eventually this has to be a national issue. It can't just be a community issue, because it's happening in a lot of different communities across different states across the nation.
Our target areas is from 16 to 25. But those are the highest risk individuals, males within the state, being killed. But it could be younger, because there's unfortunately younger people are getting access to guns, and it could be older. But we try to stick to that age group, because those are the ones right now are the highest risk of either getting shot or doing shootings right now.
According to criminaljustice.ny.gov, from 2013 to 2022, Suffolk County's gun violence has varied, with 8 to 18 deaths annually, totaling to 145 deaths from the year 2013 to 2022.
So I'm hoping that maybe we'll have programs in the school system, to educate kids, adolescents on gun and gang violence, the same way they're educated on drugs. To say no to drugs, they need to know how to say no to guns. Because, drugs, all this whole big epidemic about drugs and people overdosing on drugs. But there's an epidemic on guns also. And we need to do better. We need to change our gun laws.
Isaiah's life was tragically cut short by gun violence. In the wake of this loss, his mother, Diana, has transformed her grief into a quest for justice.
I plan on honoring his memory by keeping his name and his voice alive. I'll be his voice. I'm keeping his name alive through platforms like you. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And bring awareness to gun and gang violence, so that hopefully it'll be 100-200 less families that will have to go through this pain that me and my family are going through.